Okay, we're going to re-adjourn our meeting. We have Thursday, February 23rd, Ross Board of Education, regular meeting. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Dr. Kunkel, would you like to review the agenda, please?
Yes, sir. Just a couple highlights. The Rambotics group is going on an overnight trip end of March. I believe that's to Cleveland. Under my section is the OHSAA membership for next year. There are some personnel schedules, treasurer's report, investments, and some donations for your approval tonight. That's the highlights.
Okay, Mrs. Logan, do we need to approve the agenda?
This time too, we also need to know, I'm planning on blocking the vote under my section, so if there's anything anybody wanted to vote separately, let me know.
And same here.
Same, okay.
Yep, so number 4, approval of agenda. Would any board member like a separate vote on either my section or Mrs. Logan's?
Nobody?
Okay.
No one being, with that being said, can we call the roll to approve the agenda, please? Or do we need to?
Motion in a
A
second.
motion, okay, we'll go. Can we get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Chanel first, Mr. Kleinfelder second. Mrs. Logan, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Schnell?
Yes.
Mr. Kleinfelter?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes?
Yes.
Mrs. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Van Winkle?
Yes. We'll move on to number 5, the approval of the minutes for January 19th, 2023 meeting. Can we get a first to approve the minutes for January 19th, please?
Motion.
Mr. Chanel, can we have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Hayes? Mrs. Logan, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Schnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Kleinfelter?
Yes.
Mrs. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Van Winkle?
Yes. We'll move on to, do we have any public comments? Actually, let's go to, can we just go straight to the presentation for Elda?
I was going to do that
You wanna
under
do
my
that?
section.
And yours, okay.
Yep,
we'll
once
do
we
that.
get there, yep.
Do, Mr. Castater, do we have
I
any?
didn't see
Okay.
any public participation.
Okay, well, the floor is yours, Dr. Kunkel.
All right, go ahead.
ahead.
So Mr. Hall is here with Elda Elementary, and we're excited to have, looks like we have some students presenting. So the floor is yours. Welcome.
So I'm going to invite my students up here. We have our third grade student council. We have 5 members here. We were going to have 6. I guess one didn't make it, so you guys can come on up here. And as they're walking up here, I'd like to apologize because I think we were supposed to present earlier at the work session. That's totally on me, so I apologize for that. But we're here now and we're ready for action. I would like to showcase our student council. We're going to talk about, or I'm going to have them talk about rather, all the happenings and some different things that we've connected with the community and connected with our school, some of the fundraisers and different things like that. So I'm going to introduce them, but I have Caitlin Shepard to my left, Emmy Beckman, Isley Cordy, Johnny Moeller, and Dante Bryant. So I appreciate the families getting them here. I appreciate you guys being here. And we can kick off with our first presentation. Let's go with the guys here to start us off with Johnny and Dante. And they'll kind of let you know what they're talking about. And you guys get the microphone. And make sure you eat the mic so they can hear you, okay?
In Student Council for Veterans Day, we decided to do a buffet with the veterans and their kids. We also did a speech. We sung multiple songs for the veterans, and afterwards we went back to our classrooms.
One thing we did was guess which branch of the military. Student council members gave speeches that hinted toward branches of the military, and the veterans guessed which branch we were talking about. We had fun giving the speeches, and the veterans guessed them all.
The kindergartners sung the Pledge of Allegiance. The first graders sung Your Grand Old Flag. The second graders sung the Battle Hymn of the Republic. The third graders sung the national anthem. national anthem for each branch.
That's what we did for the Veterans Day Assembly, and we hope to do it again next year.
Hello, I'm Caitlin. I will tell you about what Kindness Week is and why we did it.
And I will tell you what fun activities we did for Kindness Week.
The reason we are doing Kindness Week is for National Kindness Week that was February 13th through 17th. The purpose was to inspire empathy, kindness, and respect for others. We want to remind all the students to be respectful and kind to everyone and have a positive attitude.
What we did for Kindness Week was fill baggies full of candy with thoughtful and kind sayings on them and pass them out to the teachers so the students know that they are appreciated. We also did a pink and red day where you were supposed to wear anything pink or red to let everyone know that they are cared for.
Hello, I am Isley. We painted a birdhouse and we planted a tree for honor of Brandon Sparks, who died. For the birdhouse, we all painted a special side of the birdhouse and hung it on the tree that we planted last year. We planted the tree in honor of him. We did this because we wanted to honor Brandon Sparks, the firefighter, passing away.
So I just want to note that they totally wrote their own speeches. We did have some time to prepare. So very nice job, very well worded. Great job speaking in public, because we don't do that very often. The kids never really get a chance to do that often. Some like to talk more than others in class. Go ahead and step. Oh, no, I'm sorry. But yeah, so it was great to just see them up here, showcasing a little bit about ELDA and student council and all the happenings. So I appreciate you guys being here and listening to our stuff. So thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome job, guys.
Good job, guys. Good job.
Killed it. That's amazing. Okay, the floor is yours.
Yes, Mr. President, I have, under my section, item 7, 3 items I like to block. The first one is a robotics trip to Cleveland. Item B is the OHSAA membership for next school year. And then finally, item C, there are 3 schedules, A, D, and E, for your approval, and those are items A, B, and C.
Okay,
As a
can we get a motion to approve items A through C under superintendent recommendations and reports? Can we get a first, please?
Motion.
Mr. Chanel, can we get a second?
Motion.
Mrs. Hayes, anybody have any questions? Mrs. Logan, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Chanel?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Kleinfelter?
Yes.
Mrs. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Van Winkle?
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to treasurer's reports and recommendations.
Thank you. I have 4 items under my section. The investment report, which is the monthly report that you see each month, which gives you the details of how our money is invested. The second item is showing you monthly reports. One is the cash summary report. We sorted it a little bit differently this month. And we also added a financial report that hopefully is a little bit more user-friendly. I think everybody likes graphs and charts and pictures of students. So we've added that to our monthly reports. Then in Now's, there's a couple there. We're working on this, but when we do have an invoice that's dated prior to a purchase order date and it's over $3,000, we have to ask for your approval to pay for that invoice. And then donations, we had 2 donations included on the list for this month. One was to set up a one-time scholarship and the other was for 3 water reel sprinkler systems donated from Mount Healthy Schools. So that's it.
Thank you. Can we have a motion under the treasurer's reports and recommendations, blocking A through D? Can we have a first, please?
Motion.
Mr. Chanel, can we have a second, please?
Second.
Mrs. Hayes? Mrs. Logan, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Chanel,
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes,
Yes.
Mr. Kleinfelter,
Yes.
Mrs. Webb,
Yes.
and Mr. Van Winkle.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on. We do not have a legislative report this month, and so we'll move straight to Butler Tech report, and that is,
We're gonna
the
get a
floor
very
is
brief
yours.
Butler Tech report, since they had a board meeting on Valentine's Day, and I think they had a bunch
That's
of
right.
people not happy about that, so the meeting lasted about 17 minutes or
Right.
some record. So there was no report from the superintendent. Paul did his usual treasurer's update for the month. And then the only other item that was discussed was they got the initial acceptance results back from Butler Tech. They had 2,469 students apply to go to their various campuses. About 60% got an offer, 1,469 students got in. We did not get a breakdown of what that was per school. We're hoping to get that next month, or whether it was their first choice, second choice, and so forth. But what that means is there's over 1,000 students that are waitlisted or still waiting to see what's going to happen with that. It is a problem that they realize they have more interest in their programming than what they can provide. And they are trying to grow their program, but with them being on the guarantee and some things, they're a little slower adding programs at those campuses than probably the rest of the district would like them to do. But and hopefully we'll get results and we get the same number of students in the past. I know they have gone to a lottery system since I was last on their board. I got a lot of questions about that yet, still don't understand it, why we're not doing merit-based entries, but we'll find out more about that in the future. That's all I have.
Does anybody have any questions? Mr. Chanel?
Nope.
Mrs. Hayes?
I thought that they went to that to make it more equitable. Didn't they?
Yeah, but
Don't,
That's what I'm like.
don't look at me. I'll get myself in trouble. You need to look
I'm
at him.
still waiting to get my questions answered. I haven't had that yet, but I want somebody that wants to work on my brakes and not somebody that got picked by a lottery to work on my brakes. That's just my thoughts, but
Sticking with Butler Tech, we have someone special in the room tonight, which is Amy Webb, who was the Butler Tech Administrator of the Year. So if we could all give her. And congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a
Thank you.
well-deserved. Being on the Butler Tech Board for 3 years, I know all the stuff that Amy goes through on a daily basis and with Butler Tech, and that's a very well-deserved honor. So congratulations. Okay, we'll move on to board comments. We'll start with Amy Webb.
Put me on the spot.
Yeah.
I just want to thank all the groups that came out tonight and the kids that are still here. You did a great job. I know it's not easy getting in front of a bunch of people and speaking, so amazing job. And thanks to the folks that were here during our work session.
Okay, Mr. Kleinfelder?
yeah, kids did a great job presenting in front of a crowd. I don't know if I was in elementary school, I'd want to talk in front of a board of any kind, let alone, and the high school kids did a good job. Congratulations to Amy on that award, and that's all I have.
Mr. Chanel?
I'll second or third all those thoughts. I think all 5 of them are already better public speakers than I am, so well done.
Mrs. Hayes?
And when you're the last, it's I agree. Thank you. Everybody go enjoy the last warm day of the
Yep.
month. And it's gonna be snowing tomorrow.
Yeah, I wanted to thank Mr. Raymer and Mrs. Tregus for coming in before the work session on the scheduled time provided. Want to thank Mr. Hall with the students, and good luck to the Ross Legacy This weekend, they have a huge competition, very big. So good luck to those guys. With all that being said, can we have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting? Can we have a first?
Motion.
Mr. Chanel, can we have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Hayes? Mrs. Logue, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Chanel?
Yes.
Mrs. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Kleinfelter?
Yes.
Mrs. Webb?
Yes.
Mr. Van Winkle?
Yes.
Did you say-